Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch Want, and thanks for logging on. Today we are looking at the Hublot Big Bang Unico World Poker Tour King Gold Limited Edition, one of 100 made in 2015 to celebrate Hublot's co-branding with the 2002 to present World Poker Tour. I have to say that thinking about poker in 2002 really takes me back, because right about the time the televised tournament poker craze was starting, I had a roommate in college who basically turned our dorm room into a laboratory for his theory of Texas Hold'em. And I gotta say, before the New Hampshire state legislature banned online gaming in the state, he made hay while the sun was shining and basically paid off his tuition playing online poker. So Alex, this review goes out to you. I'm dedicating this one first time ever. Now, 45.5 millimeters in 18 karat red gold. Hublot calls it King Gold because it's redder and more pronounced than a typical rose or pink coloration. This watch is extrovert, exuberant in every way. Depending on your perspective, the teaming of Hublot and Las Vegas is either a match made in heaven or hell, but there's no denying on the wrist this watch is unmistakable, and unmistakably Las Vegas. You can see the combination of red accents, red gold, and Hublot's traditional inset composite and black natural vulcanized rubber makes it a striking piece, even by Hublot standards. But I want to talk a little bit about the fit first before I get into the aesthetics, because there's going to be a lot to talk about on that count. Now, fit is classic Hublot Big Bang or King Power. So you're looking at a huge watch that looks the part but doesn't really wear that big on the wrist. Now, the strap is good because it's attached to very short lugs. So if the case is 45.5, the overall lug to lug of the watch is about 51-52. Now, it is almost 20 millimeters thick, so it stands high, but it doesn't have a particularly broad stance. You can see on my wrist, which is 6 1/3 inches, 16 centimeters in circumference, I can accommodate this. Now, it isn't exactly my style, but the bottom line is there's no ergonomic reason why I couldn't wear this watch. It's comfortable, it fits well, it fits securely, it distributes its mass nicely, and I've actually got the crown pulled at the moment just to show you how far it can project worst case scenario. But even then, hyperextending my wrist, there's no interference. I also want to focus on the fact that the watch has an outstanding combination double trigger titanium and King Gold deployant. So the strap is always part of the ergonomic equation with a watch, and because this one is soft, because the underside is that supple natural rubber that Hublot does so well and has since its inception in 1980, it feels smooth on the wrist. It's comfortable and it bends easily. It also tapers from the lugs outward, so the more your wrist curves, the more supple, the more pliant the strap actually becomes. Now, ultimately, with twin trigger deployant action here, I want to focus on this. This is a titanium clasp, and because you have that twin trigger, this big boy is going to be very secure on your wrist. No chance of accidental opening. It is titanium black PVD, but the insert is King Gold, brushed to match the case. Now, this watch does come with two, not one, but two separate accessory straps. So I want to emphasize that if you did want to dress it down, you could definitely do so with the equipment that Hublot includes, with what can only be described as an absolutely bonkers boxed set, and I'll get to that in a moment. For now, I want to focus on aesthetics, moving inboard from the absolutely blinding gold reflective contrasting stitched combination leather and rubber strap. I want to focus on the King Gold case itself. Alternately brushed and polished, you feature these brushed lug top centers and of course polish everywhere else. It makes for a nice contrast. The only exception to that high polish, other than the lug tops, being these individual segments of the unconventional bezel. I say unconventional because Hublot's necked down to only 4 of its signature H-shaped titanium bezel bolts. And then you have that brushed, recessed look as each of the signature icons of high-stakes poker, the diamond, the heart, the spade, the club, are actually raised from the engraved, recessed portions that are themselves brushed and matte for a high-contrast, standout look that really emphasizes this watch's casino credentials. And moving inboard from all of that standout metal, you see the dial. Now, this watch does feature not one, not two, but 3 separate sapphires, one of them on the back with the World Poker Tour logo, and then 2 of them on the front. There's the first, which covers the dial itself, and that's the outer sapphire. The Hublot marquee is printed on the inside of that, so it appears to be floating above the hands. Now, moving down inboard, you can see that the chapter ring's almost a little bit like a roulette table, but they don't play that up too much because it's outside the bounds of our poker theme. Still, it's a nice touch, and it sweeps down from the bezel inboard to the second sapphire. Now that second sapphire sits just above the plates of the movement, which you can see straight through it, and it bears the sub-registers at 3 and 9, as well as the individual applied and polished rose gold numerals and stick indices for the hour markers. I want to emphasize that the contrast between the rose gold and the rarely seen red variant of Luminova on the hour markers as well as the hands is very striking, very beautiful, and when I talk about Hublot mastering the details of this watch, sure, there's a lot, but there's also a little, in the sense that the little details have been sweated and executed beautifully. The look of the watch may not be to every taste, but Hublot put a lot of thought into this one, and it shows in the detailing and the quality of the finish. Now moving beyond that second sapphire, which leaves the sub-registers and the hour markers sort of floating above the machinery of the Hublot Unico caliber 1242 flyback, you get to the PVD base, which is a gray treated PVD, beautifully finished. There is actually a semi-transparent sapphire disc orbiting around the periphery of that Unico base plate, and it bears the date wheel and the date numerals. They pop up over this light-colored window right here, so as the date orbits the dial itself, the current date is blazoned right there at 3 o'clock, illuminated by the back plate, the backing plate that's actually white right there. And there's a gorgeous contrast between the numeral itself and the white backing plate, as well as the white backing plate and the black and red of the 60-second subdial right, or excuse me, 60-minute chronograph subdial right there. Quite beautiful, nicely done. Again, attention to detail makes the difference. You can also see contrasting sandblast finish and polished elements of the movement below. You can see the column wheel of the movement. You can see the double vertical clutch right here at 8 o'clock, double horizontal clutch right here at 8 o'clock. A lot of the features of the Unico movement are actually inside out, in the sense that the bottom of the movement, the side that normally faces the dial, features a lot of the functional elements of the Unico. So designed from scratch in-house by Hublot, the Unico was designed to be viewed without having to remove the watch and look at it through a display caseback. A lot of the best stuff that's normally on the caseback has been inverted on the Unico, so you can see it through these two separate sapphires. And if you want to be strict, there may be 4 sapphires on this watch, because you have the one on the back, you have the one that covers the watch, bears the Hublot marquee, the one that features the hour indices and the sub-registers, and then there's that sapphire that bears the numerals rotating about on the date wheel. There's a lot going on here. Like I said, attention to detail. Further attention to detail. I broke it. Haha, psych. The bottom line is, on both lugs, quick release, push button, just like a car seat belt. If you do want to dress this watch down, I mentioned it comes with accessory straps, and you won't need a jeweler's intervention to use them. Push button on both lug tops, beautifully integrated so that you don't know it's there until you want to use it, and no one would notice it. So you have that quick change convenience here, and like I said, you have plenty of options included in the boxed kit with this watch. Now, one of only 100 made, this is a very limited edition. This watch features a lot of World Poker Tournament and casino-themed styling details, micro detailing as well as macro detailing, as you can see. I want to talk a little bit more about the Unico movement before I sign off, because it really is one of the gems of the whole Hublot organization. Introduced in 2009 and refined ever since, it features all the modern standards, and it is every inch the contender with contemporary high-end movements like Rolex's 4130 in the Daytona, or the Breitling B01 series of in-house movements. 4 Hertz, automatic. Each one features a flyback chronograph that can be stopped, reset, and restarted with a single push of the button. By the way, Hublot loves cars, and each of these chronograph actuators has been styled to resemble a piston. I thought I'd throw that in there. A little bit of a V-twin action going right there. Thank you, Hublot. But there's more to the watch, featuring a 72-hour power reserve, a crisp traditional column wheel actuation system, and again, Hublot allows you to watch it cycle. You can see it. There's the stop, there's the reset, there's the start. You can see that column wheel rotating at 6 o'clock, right where my thumb is. Again, beautifully done. Not only is the watch mechanically advanced, but Hublot bears it all. Skeletonized winding rotor, rotates on maintenance-free, unlubricated ceramic ball bearings. This is a very tough system with outstanding longevity and efficiency to wind that 72-hour power reserve. Both sides of the movement are PVD coated to give it that gorgeous metallic gray look. And again, with that double horizontal clutch, unique to Hublot, as well as the column wheel, and silicone pallet and escapement wheels, all of the contemporary high horology standards are present. Hublot makes a conscious decision to go with the more aesthetically pleasing horizontal clutch rather than the sometimes steadier vertical clutch, but the proof is in the practice, and as you can see, the watch starts without any perceptible jump, it stops without stagger, and it resets completely and precisely to the index at 12. So a well-done horizontal clutch, in addition to being more fun to look at, quite frankly, than a vertical clutch, can operate just as well if tuned well, and Hublot does. This Hublot Big Bang Unico World Poker Tour King Gold features one of the best boxed sets I have ever seen. In addition to the 2 accessory straps, this watch also comes with a full Texas Hold'em style poker kit. So as soon as you crack the case open, you can put the watch on your wrist and start playing. And heck, if you're good enough, you might just be able to win yourself a couple of extra straps, maybe even a second Hublot. Alex, if you're watching, this one goes out to you. And to all you out in cyberspace, I ask if you enjoy these videos, please subscribe. I'm Tim, and this is the Hublot Big Bang Unico World Poker Tour King Gold.